If you want to learn how to play the farmer in Mythwind, you've come to the right place. In this video, we're going to be using the updated rule set version 1.1 from the Farmer Journal to learn the farmer's character actions, worker actions, and other unique things that only the farmer does in this game. So with that said, let's start planting our crops and getting ready for harvest time. If you haven't already seen the Mythwind Start Here video that covers the core rules from this game, watch that one first and then come back to this video when you're ready to learn the specifics of how to play the farmer. The link for the Mythwind Start Here video is down in the description. Similar to the Start Here video, this video also uses the updated rules version 1.1. And remember, these rules can replace any previous rule set for this game. Also, before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to Open Owl Studios for sponsoring this video series and providing a review copy of the game. Their support and your support when you like videos and subscribe to the channel is much appreciated and helps keep the channel going. So thank you all. Your goal as a farmer is to plant crops, manage livestock, and use farm equipment to create an efficient farming operation that earns you lots of coins. As the farmer, you'll efficiently manage your farmland by clearing overgrowth and finding room in these cleared areas for your crops of potatoes, strawberries, and beans that you'll harvest and sell, equipment needed to efficiently run your operation, and livestock that you'll breed and sell or use to run your equipment. The setup for the farmer, or any other specific character for that matter, wasn't covered in the Start Here video. And just to let you know, this setup would take place right after setting up the town board. The first thing you'll need to do is find these two farmer inlay boards and the farmer header. Place the header like this with the crop market purchase rate side up into the tray, then place these other two inserts here and here. Find the farmer's skills and place them face down next to the tray like this. It's helpful to arrange them by skill level, where you group the level 1, level 2, and level 3 skills together. Then place the farmer's mini next to the tray along with 10 coins that you start with. Find the farmer's livestock tokens and the equipment tokens that look like this and place them near the farmer's player tray. Then take the crop tokens and place them in the straw bag. Randomly draw 4 crop tokens from the draw bag and place one on each of these 4 zones. It doesn't matter which side of the token is up or down, but this makes up your crop market. Find the 8 untamed land tokens and place them in any configuration you want in this farmland area of the farmer's tray. These can be placed in any orientation and either side can be face up. These just can't be adjacent to one another. And adjacency just means sharing a border up, down, left, or right. Adjacency is not diagonally. I recommend when you place these that you leave a patch of open space, as this will help you get crops planted earlier in the game. Finally, keep your farmer quick reference card nearby, as you can refer to this throughout the game. On the right side of the farmer's player tray is this farmland area. This is where you'll plant crops, tend and harvest your crops, as well as strategically place equipment and livestock that can help make for a more efficient farming operation for you. The untamed land pieces that partially cover this space can be removed to create more space for farming throughout the game. The crops that you plant, tend to, and harvest are beans, potatoes, and strawberries, and all 3 of these start on their untended side. And then if tended, they get flipped over to this much more productive looking side that yields more coins than the untended side when harvested. Anytime 2 tokens of the same type, whether tended or untended, are adjacent to each other, they're considered a field. Any other type of crop that shares a border with your field is not part of that field. In this example, these strawberry tokens create a field. These bean tokens, even though they share a border with strawberries, make up a separate field. It's possible for a field just to be 1 token as well. The area up here makes up the purchase rates the farmer uses during the Improve Town Discover Land action. And this area over here is the crop market. When you plant a crop, you purchase a crop from one of these 3 zones or take the one for free from the rightmost space. This market replenishes with a unique step the farmer takes during the Dusk Phase. Lastly, this area over here is our weather effect chart, which we refer to during a special step the farmer takes during the Dawn Phase. Lastly, this area over here makes up your character actions. There's slots for your workers, and then slots for your skills. The area up here is the dice well where your workers will be housed. If you remember from the Mythwind Start Here video, which covers the rules from the Town Charter rulebook, Mythwind is played over seasons. Each season is divided into days, and the phases of a day are dawn, daytime, and dusk. Most of the character-specific differences for the farmer happen in the daytime phase, but there's one small, unique thing the farmer checks during dawn, and a unique step the farmer takes to replenish the crop market we just heard about in the dusk phase. So let's start with the unique steps for the farmer in phase order, starting with dawn. During this phase, the farmer has a quick check to make. When the weather card's revealed, the farmer checks to see if the weather matches the weather shown on their weather chart for the current season. If it does, the farmer immediately takes the action shown. For example, let's say the season is spring and the weather card drawn shows the sun for sunny weather. You look at this weather chart under spring and see if that day's weather matches. Since it does, in this example, you immediately take a plant action. We'll cover all the farmer actions later in the video. One other note on this action is that during winter, you ignore this step completely as there's no weather bonus in winter. All right, let's move to the daytime phase. So if you remember, this phase starts with all players taking one town action, which we learned about in the Start Here video. The town action is followed by your character-specific action, and then their worker actions. What we didn't learn in the Start Here video were the specifics of the character action and worker actions. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next for the farmer. If you remember, the character actions that are available for the day are limited to either sprite actions or villager actions, depending on the town action you took. If you're aligned with sprites for the phase, then you'll be limited to selecting from the top 3 character actions shown here on this action area of your player tray. If you're aligned for villagers for the phase, then you'll be limited to selecting from the bottom 3 actions. The center action can always be used, as it's used with either alignment. For an example of this, if you took the build demolish action for your town action, you'll be aligned with villagers for this phase, and will be limited to just the bottom 3 actions for your character actions for this turn. The character action you'll take as the farmer is made up of the following steps that happen in this order. Farm, and then resolve a skill, if any, in that same action row. To take the farm part of this step, you choose one of the actions which matches your alignment for the phase. The actions that you can choose from if you're aligned with sprites is plant, tend, or harvest. The actions that you can choose if you're aligned with villagers is harvest, livestock, or equipment. Now, let's learn how to take each one of these actions. To take the plant action, you select one of the crop tokens from the crop market. You pay the cost shown below that crop token, or none if you choose the rightmost crop token. And then you place that token in your farmland. When you place the token, it must be placed untended side up. If you already have a field of the same type of crop as your crop token, you must place the crop token adjacent to that field. However, the crop token can be rotated to any position. For example, if I select the plant action and choose to plant the rightmost crop token, I can place this at no cost. I flip this untended side up. I rotate this any way that I can as long as it shares one border, up, down, left, or right, with the other strawberry tokens planted. To take the tend action, you choose any one of your untended crop tokens and flip it over to the tended side. This increases the value of the crop when it's harvested. When you flip this token, you can reorient it, but it must still be adjacent to its field, and at least one section of the crop token must be placed in a space of farmland the untended side of this token previously occupied. For example, if I take the tend action, I can flip this bean crop token from its untended side to its tended side. I can reorient this, but keep it adjacent to the bean field as part of, and ensure that one section of this overlaps with the spaces this previously occupied. Alternatively, I could place this here as well, since this would still be adjacent to its field and still overlaps a segment. The harvest or clear action allows you to either sell one of your crop tokens or clear untamed land from your farmland. If you choose to harvest, you remove one of your crop tokens and collect coins as shown on the face-up side of that token. The crop token you remove goes back into the draw bag. If you choose to clear untamed land, you pay the cost in coins shown on the untamed land token you wish to remove, and then place the untamed land token in the supply. The livestock action allows you to buy, sell, move, or breed livestock. You may do each one of these up to one time and resolve these in any order. To buy livestock, you spend 3 coins, then take 1 livestock token from the supply and place it in any slot of your farmland. To sell your livestock, you take any number of your livestock tokens from your farmland and place them in the supply. You gain 2 coins for each livestock you sell this way. To move your livestock, you take 1 livestock token from your farmland and place it in an empty slot in your farmland. And finally, to breed your livestock, you select 2 livestock tokens in your farmland adjacent to each other that aren't being used in any active equipment, which we'll talk about next. Then place 1 livestock token adjacent to at least one of these tokens for free. So for an example of the livestock action, I spend 3 coins to buy a livestock token. I place it adjacent to this existing livestock token. Then I breed these 2 by placing a livestock token from the supply here for free. Then I move the newly placed livestock token. The equipment action allows you to buy new equipment, sell existing equipment, and move existing equipment. You may perform each of these actions once when taking the equipment action and in any order you choose. Equipment comes in 12 different types, and each offers a unique ability that benefits you when triggered. For a complete listing of equipment abilities, see the equipment index in your farmer journal. Equipment tokens have an active and inactive side. When you buy an equipment token, it's placed in your farmland inactive side up. This inactive side shows the equipment type, the cost in coins needed to buy it, and the number of livestock required to activate it. Anytime there are livestock tokens adjacent to the equipment token that meet or exceed the livestock cost, the token's flipped over. You can then resolve the ability or benefit shown anytime it applies. Again, see the equipment index in the farmer journal for a complete listing of equipment abilities. Livestock adjacent to an equipment token apply to the livestock requirement even if they are adjacent to another piece of equipment. If at any time livestock are removed and the livestock requirement is no longer met, the equipment token gets flipped back over to its inactive side. To buy 1 equipment token, you select 1 from the supply, spend the number of coins shown on the token, and place it in an empty slot in your farmland with the inactive side face up. To sell 1 equipment token in your farmland, you gain a number of coins equal to half the amount shown on that token, rounded down, and then place it in the supply. By the way, you can sell both active and inactive equipment. To move 1 equipment token, you select 1 in your farmland and move it to an empty slot within your farmland. Again, when you take the equipment action, you can do 1 buy, 1 sell, and 1 move in any order you choose. So that's it for the farmer's actions. Now, after you take your actions, you have the option to resolve any skill in the same row as the action you selected on your character tray. So after I take the Harvest Clear action, I would also get to use this skill. This is the Green Thumb skill, where if the weather was cloudy for the day, I would get to take another plant action. You don't start with a skill in any of the skill slots, but you may add skills by taking the Use a Building action at the Longhouse, or you may gain a skill with some other game effects. I'm going to talk more about skills later in the video. So with that said, that's how you take a character action with the farmer. After the character action, then you take your worker actions. The number of worker actions you're allowed to take are limited by the number of workers you have in your dice well in your character tray. You can use all of your workers on a turn, however, worker-specific alignment limits what they can do. For instance, a blue sprite worker is limited to taking only blue sprite worker actions. An orange villager worker is limited to taking orange villager actions. The exception is the Harvest or Clear action in the middle of the board. It can be used by either, just like it could for your character action. One more thing on workers. You can't stack worker dice in an action slot. Only one worker can occupy an action slot during worker actions. To use a hired worker, you take a die from your dice well, decrease the number of pips shown on it by 1, and then place it in a slot of your choice which aligns with the color of that worker. Then you take the action exactly the same as we did for the character action. Just note, workers don't get to use the skill associated with the row if any exists there. For example, if I take the harvest or clear action with my orange villager worker, I rotate this worker from 2 pips down to 1, and then take the harvest action and then sell this tended strawberry crop and collect 4 coins. Because this is a worker action, I don't get to use this skill in the same row as the harvest clear action like I would have with my character action. So that covers your worker actions, and that's the end of the daytime phase. But before we move to the dusk phase, let's first look deeper at how you gain skills, pay for skills, and arrange your skills. If you use the longhouse for your town action, you have the choice to gain a coin or gain a skill by paying its cost. When you gain a skill, you pay its cost and add it to your player tray. You can always add any of your level 1 skills, but in order to add or select a level 2 or level 3 skill, one of the sprites shown at the top of the skill must be in play, and these will come into play later on in the game through events. To pay for a skill, you pay the cost with tended crop tokens from your farmland, which meet the number shown next to each type shown on the skill token. You place these crop tokens back in the supply bag, and since this is not counted as harvesting, no coins are gained for these crops. Once you pay for the skill, you flip it over and add it to your character tray. You can place this in any slot you wish and may rearrange any of these skills in different slots anytime you gain a new skill. For a complete list of what your skills do, see the skill index in your farmer journal. So for example, on a future turn, I use the longhouse for my town action and select to gain my good planner skill. This is a level 1 skill, so no need to have any sprites in play to make this skill available. To pay the cost, I need a tended strawberry token and 2 tended potato tokens. I take the tokens from my farmland and put them back in the draw bag. I then flip the skill over and place it in any skill space I choose, so I place it next to tend. Once all players complete their character actions and worker actions for the daytime phase, then you move to the dusk phase. As a reminder from the Start Here video, dusk is where you return characters to your player board, you return worker dice with pips remaining from the spaces on your player board back to the dice well without changing their face, and then re-roll any dice with no pips on them and place them back at the tower on the main board. Make sure to re-roll any 0 results. As the farmer, you have one more unique step to perform in this phase, and that's where you replenish your crop market. To do this, you slide all crop tokens in the market to the right until each of the rightmost spaces have 1 crop token. Then you draw a random crop token from the draw bag and place 1 in each empty space. Then, once all characters are finished with any special dusk actions, you start the next day if there are any weather cards remaining in the weather deck, or move to the end of the season if no weather cards remain. At the end of a season, along with the end of season steps we looked at in the Start Here video, many characters also have their own upkeep steps to resolve at this time, and all characters can resolve these simultaneously. For the farmer, you have an overgrowth step you'll take where at the end of summer and fall, you'll roll 1 worker die from the tower, and at the end of winter, you'll roll 2 worker dice from the tower. This step doesn't happen at the end of spring. If there are not enough dice at the tower, take an additional die from the supply. Then place random untamed land tokens equal to your results in your farmland. These tokens can be placed anywhere, even if they are adjacent to each other. If there's not enough space for them, then you must remove crop, livestock, or equipment tokens to create space. These tokens that you remove don't generate any coins. If supply of untamed land tokens is limited, place as many as you can. Place the dice back at the tower, preserving any new results. If dice came from the supply, then put them back in the supply. Then either save the game or continue a new season. If you start a new season, you may continue as the farmer or switch characters if you want to. To save the game for the farmer, place the coins, unused crop tokens, equipment, and livestock tokens under the farmer header board. At the left side of the tray, place unused skills and cleared untamed land, then place the lid on the tray. Place this, your character's mini and draw bag, back in the box. To resume your game, do these things in reverse order, and then create your crop market from the tokens you placed under the header board. Alright, so that sums up how to play the farmer in Mythwind. So I hope you enjoyed this how to play video, and if you did, please remember to like and subscribe. When you're ready to continue your character learning journey, you can find the links to the other characters' videos in the description. I look forward to seeing you there.